Hi guys, and welcome to my review for the DARUMA Audio Vento Conductor Run. This is the latest, one of the latest IEMs that DARUMA Audio has launched. It is part of the Suzerain series, and it's a set of IEMs, three of them, which have the intention of being able to bring to a wider variety of population of people the typical style of musical playback of or the Japanese people usually like their music to be played their style. There's three models. There's the Daystar, there's the Daria, and there's the Run, which is what I have here today. The Daystar and the Run are single DDs, while the Daria is a 1+1. Anyway, uh, I apologize for the damage at the box. It wasn't transportation. It happens. But the box, it's an unusual presentation. Inside you have a phenomenal selection of tips. I believe it's six different styles of tips, which, really, you can't complain. You will definitely find something that will please you. And if you don't, you at least can't complain that you don't have any tips that you had to go out and buy straight away, tips to try out. Okay, the cable is what to be expected at this price point. It's not a thick gauge cable, but it works nicely. It doesn't tangle, perfect. And then the IEM itself is a resin shell IEM with a 10mm driver inside. In terms of its impedance, it's 22 ohms, 101 dBs of sensitivity. The cable is not a exchangeable termination cable. It's just a single 3.5, which, when you consider the price point at which this is sold at, which is around $69, give or take, there are other IEMs which have more competitive offerings with interchangeable nozzles or interchangeable terminations of their cables. But anyway, this is what it is, and DARUMA Audio has a style and a particular way of doing things, and in that aspect they've done it. What can I say? They have tried to, as I mentioned earlier, bring that style of Japanese listening to music, which is a style where the mids, the vocals, are the primary focus, are done at a more cost-friendly price. And the price, obviously, like I said, $69 reflects that. Usually, to get this style of sound, you have to spend a lot more money with Japanese products. And DARUMA Audio have tried to bring a high quality product, affordable to the masses, let's put it that way, and make it as well, I think, affordable or interesting, at least for people outside of Japan. This wasn't an easy IEM to get hold of. I'm not gonna deny. I actually ended up getting it from AngelEars, but it wasn't an easy IEM to get hold of. And I want to obviously thank AngelEars for having been able to make this happen and giving me the little small discount that they gave me. But I've been a long time fan of Vento Conductor products. I've got here an older T500, which is basically very similar to the KV Ink. And I've also got here the IVipQ, okay? The reason why these two are here is that they've got a very similar tuning style, very similar. The difference that exists here is obviously meter shell, resin shell, beryllium driver, non-beryllium driver, and this one has, because of the way that it's been tuned, it's got a lot more energy in the 2 to 5 kilohertz area than the Q. But this is to position and for you guys to understand what this is and what this isn't. As for the Vento Conductor, the T500, it's like I said, it's an IEM which has kind of features a lot of its tuning idea from the KV Ink, and what does that mean? It means a great big thick bass, loads of bass. It's got I believe it's an 8.6mm driver instead of a 10, and then as well loads of energy in the upper mids and treble, tuned in a more conventional manner. But it works and it sounds fine and it sounds great, and it's a pity actually that the T500 didn't get a more favorable viewing from part of a larger crowd of people. I think it's a really well done IEM, and when I briefly compare them here, you'll understand where they sit. Anyway, jumping into the sound, and so that you guys can understand, what is the thing that surprised me the most about the Run when I first listened to it? And it's something that in a review that I just did with regards to the One Dot Audio Helios, the D100, and a couple of other IEMs. I'm really very happy that more and more you see companies focus on the musical aspect of an IEM. You know, it's not just choosing a driver, choosing a shell, throwing it together and see what happens. No, it's making sure that what type of driver you are using is going to match up correctly with the type of shell that you are going to use, and then that you can extract from that combination the ideal tuning for the sound to be correct. Example, if I use the same driver, same style of tuning, and I use a resin shell as opposed to a metal shell, you're going to get two different sounds. And that's something that, for example, like I was saying on the review I did of the TRI I1 versus the, not versus, but with the ODA D100, the difference there is in the shell. The drivers are both high quality. I would say the driver of the D100 is slightly better, but the drivers are high quality. The tuning, once slightly readjusted in the side of the I1, is good, and it's kind of very similar to what the D100 has. But the difference is the shell, and that difference in the shell then dictates how that sensation, that atmosphere, that tonality that the driver conveys has. Metal shells will inevitably end up sounding a little bit colder by the resonances that the actual shell vibration implements. So either you are then using some sort of Helmholtz resonator internally to kind of do away with those peaks and resonances, or you're using some sort of damping. You're going to have to work around those issues that are done or created by the shell. In a resin shell, you don't have that problem. And the D100's magic, okay, is precisely there, and that's exactly what happens here with the DARUMA Audio Vento Conductor run. When I listen to the run and I listen to the Q, there's a lot of similarities there, definitely. But this is using a beryllium driver and a metal shell, and because it's using a beryllium driver, they purposely tone down the energy level in terms of the beryllium's tuning energy level in terms of the mids and the highs. Otherwise, this would shout, and it's noticeable. While here, because it's a resin shell, it allows it makes you get away with resonances that actually what they do is, although the bass level of one and the other is exactly the same, and this does end up sounding maybe thicker because it doesn't have the same extension up top, it loses to the DARUMA Audio run because the run's extra energy in the mids and upper mids, coupled to the way that resin shell resonates, it gives the same sort of weight that you have on the Q, but with more atmosphere, with more feeling of physicality, of space, of atmosphere. I think is the best word, okay? And that's, I think, is the magic that I found here in the run. It just has this sensation of musicality, of presence, of involvement that is very, very gratifying. I mean, the Q is a phenomenal IM. I think that for an IM that it's at what it's priced for and what it offers in terms of build and so on and so forth, it's a really nice IM. But it's an old school tuning. It's a warmer tuning, and yes, like I said, they've taking care of that beryllium driver so that it wouldn't shout, okay, and that would have spoiled the whole exercise. So definitely well done, no questions. This here, because of the resin shell, they've enabled the driver to breathe, to be there, present. And when I actually take those points that I like comparing, that you guys know that I always like comparing, and when I take 100 hertz point and I compare it to where that corresponds in the mids, we're talking 1.7 kilohertz. Nothing, I mean, it's not ideal, or not what I would usually consider ideal. You guys have heard me say countless times, it's 2 kilohertz and above, and then you still have to look at the amount of energy below 100 hertz and the amount of energy then above 2 kilohertz or whatever it is above that, okay, and see where they stand to each other. By looking at the run and looking at the graph, you will automatically maybe jump to the conclusion that it's overly bright or overly intensive, and you couldn't be further from the truth, because first of all, yes, it's got a bit of intensity there between that 1.7 kilohertz area and 4.5, but then it drops away straight away. Then it peaks at close to 8K for that couple related peak, and then extension past 10K. And the way that it's just come together there, it just works beautifully. That's the reality. It just works phenomenally well, and it just makes the run sound so satisfying. You know, I think the biggest problem that the run will encounter will be not so much getting a hold of it if you're living in Asia. Getting a hold of it if you're living in Asia, you can easily get it. Living in Europe, it's a different story. But I think its biggest problem will be the price point at which it's at. You have a lot of very solid competition, and you have a lot of IMs that, because of that solid, because of the ease of getting them, and because of the wider range of people that have tried them, they will definitely get more people saying, oh, I like this particular IM, I like the Keyfind Delcio, or I like this one, or I like that one. While you will not get as many people saying that they like the run, because they haven't heard the run, they don't know what the run can do. Maybe if you now, on the other hand, go to Asia, and where people might have more access to this, they will say, you know what, the run actually does deserve attention. And that's my honest opinion. The run does deserve its attention. Compared here with the T500, yes, the T500 will have a little bit more sub bass. T500's bass will probably be a little bit more imposing, okay, a little bit more impact, a little bit more, let's say, professional sound kind of bass, okay, PA sound of bass. While here the bass is more, it's a more involving, it's a more, how can I even, I'm gonna say this, but I'm sure you guys will, this is a kind of a sexy bass. It's just enough, you know, it's not overpowering, it's just got that involvement that just seduces you. And like I said, I went through a whole bunch of songs and music and everything. I listened to everything, and phenomenal. I was really impressed with how it did anything that I threw at it in terms of jazz. Nothing to be said there. Really, 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 really good. I mean, honestly, Swept Away by Carol Duboc, In a Sentimental Mood by Cecil Norby, House of Groove, Elephant by Carol Duboc, You by Cecil Norby. And then if I go to, let me see here, Love Song by Jessie J, Piece of Me by Candace Springs, The Tracks of My Heart, the Tracks of My Tears, sorry, by Brenda Russell, really good as well. Dominic Phil Aim, Home, wow. So in that department, or in that area, that specific genre, nothing. But where it impressed me, because I was thinking maybe it might be lacking, was in the EDM. I really wasn't expecting it to still be as competent as it was, and I threw, you know, a whole bunch of things at it. Let me see here, Cloud Tram, for example. You know, it's a demanding song. It's a song that, you know, the IEM should have some guts behind it. Let Me Come to Life by Clown Carousel. Fantastic. Everything in the right amount of energy. I cannot, you know, I can't fault it. Honestly, I cannot fault it. And that's basically it. So bass, polite when it has to be polite, present when it has to be present. That's my overall opinion of the bass. Mids, forget the graph. The graph doesn't do justice to the mids that the run has. Clean, detailed, the right amount of energy, no shout, no aggressiveness, no sibilance, nothing. Very, very nicely done. And then they are subdued and taken back where they can start causing problems, which is above 4K. And then a nice amount of extension past 10K, which easily matches that area there between 201 kilohertz, 1.5 kilohertz, giving that area that atmosphere, helping out with that, giving that area and that bass and that mid bass and that low mids all the atmosphere that it requires to be engaging, to be really captivating in its performance. And that's basically it, guys. I mean, there's really not much more that I can say about the DARUMA Audio Vento Conductor run, other than a product well done, and I just hope and wish that more people will be able to get hold of it, have a listen, and see that, you know, it is a worthwhile product. Okay, so let me just show you quickly the graphs and we'll wrap it up. Okay, guys, so here's the graph for the run. As you can see, just by looking at the graph, you'll think to yourself, okay, this is going to be maybe overly thin, 1.6, 1.7 more or less. It's got loads of energy up there. I don't know if it's going to sound, but no, you know what? That combination of driver selection, tuning, resin shell, how everything has been put together just works perfectly. Subdued energy there past 4.5, like I said, nice extension past 10K. When I take, for example, the IVipQ and I throw the IVipQ at it, you can see very similar. Everything's very similar. The IVipQ doesn't have that extension past 10K that the DARUMA audio has. two factors obviously are to blame for that. The fact that it's using beryllium driver, so you have to be careful with how you let that beryllium driver breathe, otherwise it's gonna be too much. And it's using metal shell, which again doesn't contribute positively. It will clean up the bass and make the bass incisive, but and that's what you basically notice. You notice the sound is a warmer sound. The bass is incisive, it's got good control, nothing to be said there, but it lacks the atmosphere and the same amount of bass presence that the Run has by having that resin shell, adding to the whole vibration, resonance, combination of things there, let's put it that way. Plus the extra extension that it has as well, it just makes the Run sound absolutely phenomenal. Honestly, it sounds really, really good. I know I've been sounding like a bloke on record, every IM sounds good and so on and so forth, but guys, this is the reality. Nowadays, most stuff that comes out is competent. So, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh no, this one is good, this one is garbage, this one, no. The problem is kind of narrowing it down to what do they offer for the money, accessories, value for money, because those are going to be ultimately the dictators, the deal breakers, the ones that will tell you to choose this IM over that IM. Okay. As compared with the T500, which I also mentioned, that's the T500 there. Way more sub bass, definitely. The mids and that part of the section of the, yes, but it's got extra energy here in this part of the treble, which is noticeable. It's welcomed, but it makes the sound maybe just a tad, especially at slightly higher volumes, a little bit more fatiguing, coupled to the fact that it's the metal shell also not helping out. Yes, it doesn't have the same extension past 10K as well. It's two different approaches to sound, honestly. Of the two, which one do I personally prefer and which one do I like? Well, I alluded to that when I did the video, the teaser video. I think the Run has got a more mature tuning of a kind of, let's say, style that Vento Conductor tries to follow, okay? Even though you might not think there's a commonality here in this tuning style, the reality is that ultimately there is a commonality, and the Run just is the more sensible product in my opinion. I'm definitely looking forward to trying out a few more products from Vento Conductor, from DARUMA Audio. The Daria would definitely be another one, and maybe another one from the T series. I'm definitely going to do my very best to try and get my hands on these products, but they're not easy to get hold of, like I said. And I'll definitely keep you guys posted. All right, you take care now. As always, like and subscribe. Any questions, please feel free to ask me. Take care now. Bye bye.